Hi, this is Leigh. Welcome to Alchemy Intuitive Arts. I'm so happy that you're here today with me, and I'd love it if you would smash the like button and join me. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe to my channel. This is a channel where I talk about my psychic impressions, my clairvoyant visions, and my intuitive hits. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love to have you join me. And with that said, let's get into it. There's a lot of energy going on in the world today, and I'm picking up on a lot of energy about many things, and it's a lot, and I'm sure many of you are feeling this way yourselves. There's so much going on. There is a lot of energy around war, and as we know, there's huge conflict going on in Israel, and the US is rallying together with other countries, and we also have the war in Ukraine with Russia, and that plays into it. And it's just an escalation of what I talked about earlier in the 2024 prediction video. You can go back and check that out. But it is getting more heavy in my estimation, in my feeling. And what I see is that these world leaders are putting in place the different puzzle pieces to escalate this into, many could call, World War III. And World War III is going to be a very serious situation, and it's very much a war about ideology. And as you know, ideology comes from our spiritual values, our religious values, and also our values about neither of those things. Perhaps you're an atheist. But what we have here in my belief system is a war of different ideologies, and whether or not we should be independent factions as nations, or whether we should be just one big happy family. What we're seeing on the border in the US is going to take on a life of its own. It's going to take on a life that may very well endanger American citizens even more than they already have been in danger. Now, I'm not saying everybody that comes across the border is bad, but clearly there is a process that people are not following. They're not following the legal process to immigrate into the United States, and so they're being incentivized by the amount of money they're going to receive when they get here, etc. The other big energy that's going on is the energy of the evolution, and perhaps you could call it de-evolution, of the current governments and current monarchies and current governing bodies. And this may also get escalated as well, obviously with the war that's going on. But I'm talking about the crumbling of the way we are being governed. That is changing. We see it in a big way in the UK with the monarchy and with Charles being ill and William being on his own agenda and Kate being missing and just Queen Elizabeth's passing and just a few other people that are part of the royal establishment have died. And so this is all a piece of what is happening. And here in the US, we see the changing of how we've done business for so long, and the reversal of laws and the reversal of what is considered criminal and what is considered legal. You know, all of these things are changing how we're going to live going into the future and how we're going to be able to take care of ourselves. And that, coupled with technology and the onset of AI, these are huge changes that are going to bring us into a new era. We are leaving the technological era, I would say, and we're going into another era. And the era of AI and the era of AI consciousness, all of that is what we could possibly call it, although we haven't seen the weight of what's going to happen with this. It's coming on really quickly, so we'll find out pretty quick how this is going to affect our lives, because a lot is changing, and the way that we do business, the way that we make money, etc., is changing right along with it. The other big, heavy energy I see is around free speech and what's happening with free speech and what is really free speech. And since speech is mainly held on public platforms, this is the frontier where we are going to see how free speech pans out. And free speech is only as free as the arbiter. It's only as free as the person who's in charge. So if that person doesn't like something that somebody is saying, they can control that person's speech very easily through pulling levers from behind the curtain, just like in The Wizard of Oz. And if you remember how that went, Dorothy pulled the curtain back and was able to see it was just this little man throwing levers, and he was quite embarrassed about what happened. I think that novel has a lot to say about what's going on right now. And, you know, it's amazing how these authors back in the day, their visions through novels and whatnot are coming into reality, as another novel would be 1984. The other energy that's super heavy is the energy of this Hollywood energy, where people are being exposed for their deeds done behind the curtain as well. And perhaps Dorothy is at work with this one as well. We're seeing tragic things that have happened to people, and people that were manipulated, blackmailed, forcibly having to partake in activities, and maybe some of them partook by choice, but we're really finding out exactly how fame has worked in these particular instances, and the issues of conservatorship, and the issue of money, and the issues of money laundering, and how money flows in and out of various situations and various parties and various businesses. This energy is quite heavy because many people are feeling the weight of their actions, and the weight of their actions could potentially change their lives forever. Some people may have enough money to get themselves out of trouble, and others may go down and take one for the team. Now is a time where people, famous and not so famous, are coming face to face with their karma. And this is something that creates real heaviness in the air. There are people that maybe did deals with other people that they regret. The shiny object syndrome again, where something looks really good on the outside, but maybe it's not so good after all. And that's where it's so critically important to use your discernment, use your third eye, meditate, and don't just take things at face value or people at face value, because oftentimes these days people have an objective. They have a reason why they want to get next to somebody. So we must use our discernment. For myself, I've been in many situations where I wasn't using my discernment. I got caught up in foolish things. I regret some things, but I'm not ashamed of myself. And that's the whole thing. When you go through something that maybe is not your best you, your highest self, you have to let go of the shame. And if somebody wants to shame you, well, the only one that can shame you is you. So don't allow anybody to shame you, to make you feel guilty because you don't line up with their, box of what they think is right and wrong. I grew up in a very religious background, and so the right and wrong in my life growing up was very, very rigid. It was very structured, and it was very contrived about what, if I did one thing, what would happen to me. Basically, I would go to hell, or I would be called a dirty word, or I would be, whatever. And so it's taken me many years, and I'm still working on it, to break free of that religious dogma. Religion has many great things. It gives us a moral compass and teaches us how to treat each other. But gone awry, it can do things like commit war crimes and create genocide and cause people and relationships to break apart. So it's super critical that you keep your own self aligned and that you don't get lost. So with that said, keep vibing high. Do what makes you happy. Do what raises your frequency. And peace, love,